footwork or anything as far as the more defensive masteries for the AD carry. This is obviously trying to use the Lucian passive, trying to put on more damage, and you kind of have to commit to the longer trades to actually get anything out of that.
So we have to see if actually he gets poked down and what else he's picked in his runes, if there's other sustain coming in from him, because obviously with SwordArT, the thing he can do is poke. His all-in requires the Lucian to stop moving, basically, otherwise he's not really going to be able to stick to him.
So Prey took Zombie Ward, and
don't take Zombie Ward in a 1v1 map where you can't place any wards.
He has Zombie Ward and Presence of Mind, which I'm not sure really how effective those two masteries are going to do. I mean, those don't even do anything.
So Presence of Mind makes a little bit of sense. Basically, when you level up for 5 seconds, you get your mana back that you're spending. And obviously in 1v1s, when you are poking a lot, you do spend a lot of mana. So in this case here, Prey is relying on the fact that he's going to get a lot of early level ups here, level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And he has 5 seconds window where he can go all in and not actually lose any mana on it. So
you know what else gives you mana? Mana flow band.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have gone sorcery secondary.
But now we're going to get the level up from Prey into the all in. And then he can use the zombie. Never mind, he can't use the zombie. Man, why would
It actually makes no sense. But
maybe he misclicked.
On the other side, SwordArT is going to be going for the Resolve secondary. He has Iron Skin. He has Second Wind. That is pretty expected. Now, we were talking about this a little bit where we kind of were thinking that Futures Market is actually probably just better than a lot of the other secondary trees because even early in the game, you're likely going to be able to go around 150 gold into dead. And 3 extra potions is actually such a big deal in the 1v1 when you're thinking about the total health gain from that.
Also, one thing SwordArT picked up in this one is absolute focus. Something we don't see very often. Basically, when you are above 70% HP, you deal, or you get some more stats and you can actually deal a little bit more damage. So he's relying on walking in to Prey with almost full HP on this Nasus and then just like fire that extra poke damage in his face and just try and get him low enough. And again, Prey's not running with a lot of sustain in this game, and that could be a problem for him.
Yeah, we'll see if it does come into play. For now, though, SwordArT has actually been missing a lot of the farm. He's already down 6-7 CS at this point, and we've seen so far in a lot of the games, if you fall like 10 behind, CSing almost doesn't really become an option as a victory. So you do kind of get forced into trying to look for those all-in kills.
And that really sucks when you're playing the poke champion, who actually just wants to win on farm or win by poking you, so you go back to base and you can't actually kill the Nasus. In this case, here, SwordArT will not have the same luxury Faker had, where he was basically controlling the 1v1 for most of it. Prey is currently sitting in a good situation.
Yeah, and the early vamp, I think, makes a lot of sense. If your opponent's victory really is to poke you out, you get a little bit more sustain, grab a couple more potions. So we can see Rekkles looking on.
Seeing what's going on here.
Maybe get a couple tips here, you know.
I mean, what happened last year was a lot of people in the start were playing a lot of different champions, but then suddenly we started seeing like Lucian and these other AD carries a lot, and everyone wanted to suddenly play them. And then Yasuo was also in there.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the Zoe versus Zoe. I want to see it at least once. I think that would be hype.
I mean, it would definitely be hype. Would it be very good? Different question. SwordArT not really able to hit a massive AoE skill shot onto Prey. All in.
It's looking pretty good for Prey, honestly. The exhaust is already over. He still has his.
And press attack is on SwordArT right now. He's taking so much damage.
Just like that, Nasus is not working out there. For SwordArT. Prey is going to be able to best him pretty comfortably.
That was too easy.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the Nasus would miss out in this one, so they won't be able to easily dodge out of that comet damage that's going to hit after the skill shots firing. Obviously, exhaust barrier on both the guys. We have to see if there's anything else that's different in terms of runes. Same keystone, no surprise.
Yeah, it is going to be Comet versus Comet. We don't know what all they've agreed to. I mean, it's possible they just go straight up for the level 1. Getting 4th shots in is also going to be so big if you can actually prep your 4th shot on minions.
You always want to like force the other Jhin to kind of decide between having to last hit with it or try and like move forward and hit you, and then suddenly he might take some minion damage in return, and people get a little bit too greedy with the 4th shot and it actually ends up backfiring. Rekkles went back early.
Zeitnot did not. He actually elected to stay around, which means he is going to be starting down already. A bit of health. Yes, he has 3 potions, but he's going to be missing like, I don't know, 50 or 100 HP.
It's an alpha move, though. Being like, I don't need that extra HP.
Asserting your dominance.
Yeah, and 1v1.
It's kind of like taking Zombie Ward.
I mean, it worked for Prey. He won the game, and therefore he is correct, and we are wrong.
True.
And that's how it works.
That is how analysis works.
Now we also have to remember, especially when you play like mirror matches, if you can actually get the push early on, well, the other guy can't really out DPS you because you kind of deal the same damage. So it's hard for him to get control back and push the lane back. And if he gets stuck on the tower, it is so hard to last it on this map.
Yeah, it really is. The turret does more damage, so it's not what you're actually used to on Summoner's Rift. And as you say, I mean, the basic abilities are all going to be doing around the same damage, and that's why I do think the skill shot accuracy comes a lot into play. How many Ws can you hit? Can you actually look to set yourself up for an advantageous minion push or even an all-in?
And we just see both players trying to push the wave at the moment. They want to make sure that no one is actually getting stuck under the tower. Zeitnot did not manage to get his 4th shot on Rekkles. Now it's Rekkles' turn. No, gets it on the minion instead.
A nice little sidestep there from Zeitnot. He was able to avoid the W, did land his comment as well onto Rekkles. And if an all-in does actually come out, exhaust timing is going to be so big because in a lot of these 1v1s, we've been seeing people miss. And Rekkles actually taking a lot of damage there. It is one summoner down already.
All right, so we got heal used over, exhaust, used on the Zeitnot's side here. Now, in terms of the runes, both are going Resolve Tree second win an Iron Skin, so just want to get, you know, as much early power there, a bit of extra HP, get the 5 armor as well. Very important, of course, when you have these mirror matches.
Yeah, the only difference being absolute focus versus celerity. So, you know, one favoring the movement speed there for Zeitnot, and Rekkles, if he is higher HP, he is going to deal a little bit more damage with his poke.
And I actually like the movement speed here, again, just to get in range for your 4th shot, and maybe you can actually step away before Rekkles can return 2 shots onto you and potentially his own 4th shot, obviously depending on how many he has left when you go for that all-in. So I do like the extra mobility in that case, and I also think getting boots is actually something they should consider, again, just to dodge the comet.
Yeah.
Because you need 355 movement speed to step out of that little AoE that flies after.
See, so far though, just more longsword pickups here for Rekkles. Not going to buy any more regen. A lot of players traditionally do go for things like the Doran's Blade because of how efficient the item is as a standalone component, but Rekkles preferring to go for more of the damage, and it's going to be exactly mirrored buys here for Zeitnot, but he does have one additional potion because he delayed his base a little bit more.
But right now, Rekkles will get a small CS advantage, 30 to 28.
And a big part of that is there's the offset cannon waves. So cannons come out not at the same time. Zeitnot's cannon wave is actually out there, which means it's denying pretty much a full entire wave of Rekkles' minions. That alone is going to give a nice little advantage because there's just more minions for Rekkles' CS.
And we also see Rekkles really make sure these minions stay alive for as long as possible to kill his own minions. Exactly. He didn't want to just instantly crit onto that cannon and kill it. He actually kept it alive for as long as possible. So he just dealt a little bit more damage, meaning Zeitnot potentially could lose another minion. Now we're back in all-in.
Oh, Zeitnot is down a summoner, and he might get chased down here.
There's minion as well, hitting Rekkles, but he got it.
Oh, Zeitnot didn't even get the barrier off there. Was maybe hoping to bait it out a little bit longer and get the minion.
No, Taliyah it is.
But some of the atypical stuff has really been successful in 1v1s. You know, Grasp of the Undying Caitlyn last year and things like this. If you can actually theory craft something to really take down your opponents. It is going to be exhaust barrier for Bjergsen, the only difference being the heal, obviously, for Faker instead of that exhaust. And both players selecting Airy, so we'll have to wait to find out what those secondary runes will be.
I mean, we have to have Mana Flow banned in here. We can see on both guys, which is not a big surprise. Scorch, most likely as well. And then it's just all about what they want. Is it absolute focus in there as an option?
So Faker actually taking as his secondary Legend Alacrity and Last Stand. So that is actually pretty surprising. So Legendary Alacrity is actually the attack speed.
Yeah.
So that's a lot about the pushing, I think. He may be trying to contest that. And extra damage when you are low HP from Last Stand. So maybe trying to pull off some sort of surprising burst. Like if you save your ultimate till you're low HP, you could get a bit of extra damage there.
Also, if you're baiting out, you know, with your barrier. So when you're on low HP, you use the barrier to just stay alive for a little bit longer and you deal extra damage at that time. So that's very interesting. Like the Alacrity one, typically is where you get kills and assists, and you obviously get more and more attack speed the further you go into the game, but it does give you some base attack speed at the start. Yeah. That is clearly what he's valuing here to try and push this Taliyah back. And
especially the Last Stand is something that you just don't even see. Even as far as solo queue on SR, that's not something I really see people picking whatsoever. For Bjergsen, it is going to be more standard, will be the Resolve secondary tree. He's going to be playing Mirror Shell and Second Wind, so that is the flat MR, as well as the regen. And it does simply look like Bjergsen is going to play the pushing game. He's going to try to win here on CS, shove in your opponent, and like it's very hard to last hit these minions properly. If they've taken any damage, they'll just die in one shot.
Yeah, so you don't want to hit that caster minion before the towers hit it, because you need to just last hit it right after. It's not like on Summoner's Rift where you gotta hit the caster minion once, then the tower shot hits, and then you last hit. Faker just messed that up and actually lost the CS.
The melees are also very awkward to CS because it's not like 2 hits then auto it. It is kind of like a hit and a half, so you kind of have to prep them properly to actually have them be able to be last hittable. Obviously, Syndra can be pretty good at that later on, though.
Basically, the tower 2-shots the melee minions.
Yeah.
That just makes it very difficult to see. So Bjergsen, once again, playing to just push all the time, and it is working for him at the moment. Faker looking instead for that all-in, needs to land the stun first, and then he can apply a lot of burst damage that Bjergsen will struggle against.
The other thing that's actually really big on this
hit
map
the wrong one
in particular is the fact that if you control the wave, you control the health relics. And every time you're getting a health relic, that's essentially a full potion extra of HP. So and even if Bjergsen is getting poked somewhat, the fact that he's getting both of these relics is a really big deal. And he's just going to go back to base. Once again, there's a cannon there. That's going to buy him enough time. He knows the wave will now push back towards him, but
interrupted.
Does get stopped on the back a little bit. Oh, no. It's like one of the same time things.
Actually just made it back, so important for him. Faker still struggling a little bit under this tower here, but this time around he got a few more minions. 23 for him to 29 from Bjergsen. And Faker's not gone back to base yet, which is also important to highlight.
Exactly. The fact that he hasn't gone back to base and that his opponent has a very strong push means if he cannot push up the wave before he goes back, it's going to be tough for him because he will likely have a lot of minions denied to the turret while he is away, and then the wave will be pushing back for him again. And Faker's getting not only low on health, but relatively low on mana here. So we'll see if he can actually pull something up. I mean, if he hits 6 before Bjergsen, there is still potential for an all-in.
This is dirty, though, from Bjergsen. Again, so much poke landing. Got that early back. You know, he's sitting with 2 Dorns. He has boots as well.
And he's taken 3 health relics to Faker 0. Like, he continuously gets them. Yes, he took a Scatter of the Week there, did get traded on, but he grabs, again, another health relic. He's pushing in Faker, and Faker's almost out of mana.
Yeah, so Faker is just kind of waiting to get like level 6, then he needs to go back and get full mana, and then he needs to go into this lane here and see if he can actually try and lock down Bjergsen.
The problem with that is it should be very apparent to Bjergsen.
Oh, he knows for sure.
Well, right? And when you're in a situation like that, if I'm Bjergsen, I push out this wave, I base again, I buy defensive items.
Oh, stop the recall.
You buy something like a Ruby Crystal, you buy Magic Resist. As long as you cannot get one shot, you already have enough pushing power just from a couple Doran's Rings in your base damage. He's kind of outthought Faker a little bit here, it feels like.
All right, so we got 50 CS hit right there from Bjergsen's side. Faker very low. Tries to last it under this turret. The minions will not really help him here because they start hitting the casters.
Is close there. Bjergsen should not be able to stop this base, but he's just looking to push, and then he should back. He's out of mana as well. So this is now Faker's kind of chance. He did get Sork Boots, especially now if Bjergsen buys MR, that completely nullifies it, because for the 450 gold, you get 25 MR compared to the 1100 gold committed for these boots. Yes, it helps close the gap and whatnot, but he's going Merc Treads, and I think this is so smart from Bjergsen. It almost, to me, eliminates any chance of really being able to pull off a kill.
Well, it just makes it even harder also now with the stun not lasting as long, so there's a high chance that Bjergsen can just step away.
And to dodge the skill shots as well here.
Exactly, just dodge it in the first place. If you do get hit, you know, it can last longer. You can then actually just disengage the fight here. Faker right now, though, we'll try and see if he can fight. Misses that one.
And to Faker's credit, he actually has kept the farm pretty close. So it is not out of the realm of possibility they could win, you know, just on farm if he can actually push Bjergsen back.
Yeah, this is a very big wave for Faker right here, where he's picking up quite a lot of CS. We'll be able to last hit that one as well. Actually, able to really control most of the melees. Sadly for him, has to give away a single one.
Only down 3 though. He's actually done quite a remarkable job last hitting under the turret. And Faker just barely stepping forward. Remember though, Faker does have last stand, meaning he will deal more damage when he is on low health. Bjergsen likely not expecting that sort of a mastery, could be a little bit surprised with the extra damage coming out.
Oh, Faker wants this one. Bjergsen's
out of mana. Faker could actually theoretically catch up on farm here.
Oh, he will try to see if he can stop the recall as well. There we go, stop this one. Didn't get the last one because Bjergsen just made it back in time. Faker, yeah, while he's a bit low on HP, does have both summoners available. Bjergsen's exhaust here Obviously needs to be in range to use it when Faker is actually going for the all-in. Faker is much more focused on just healing himself. And Staying Alive misses the stun.
Yeah, this is pretty tense. Faker
Super scary.
going back again. They're actually completely tied on minions now, but Faker does not want to just give up these waves that are coming out.
Yeah, also extra minions right here that Bjergsen can kill. Faker wants to try and get it under the turret to see if he can deny something, but that's where Taliyah is so good at just pushing it right back.
Yeah, and especially when you're actually moving around the territory on the map, she always is going to have more work ground to actually utilize there in that 1v1. Faker looking like he is trying again to go back, but Bjergsen could very easily stop this. He even has the ult to stop that, and Faker getting so low.
Yeah, and that's greedy by Faker to start recalling right there. You know,
Yeah,
he's still in front of his turret. Very easy for Bjergsen to just stop him and deal so much damage.
Pretty crazy 1v1. Faker is down 4 CS already, and there's 4 additional minions here, so it's about 8 CS of an advantage, and tries to guess to stop the recall. Not going to be able to do it, but still, Faker is going to have to all in very quickly when he gets back. Bjergsen can base again and kind of prepare for the final push here.
Bjergsen needs 2 more waves to win this one. 91 CS what he's sitting on, goes back to base once again. Faker getting a bit of CDR, didn't actually even wait for full HP, just rushed back to try and catch these minions here.
But I honestly think at this point, you cannot really win on minions. Taliyah can very easily access those minions with the Qs pretty safely, unless you can completely zone him off. Like, you have a cannon wave here. This is going to push into Bjergsen. Faker needs to start posturing. He needs to pressure Bjergsen and not allow him access to the minions, or he's simply already lost on the CS.
Well, he's trying to look for that all-in, does actually manage to connect the stun. Faker
Getting pretty low.
heal used already from him. Ulti is ready.
Neither player bought potions. Like, they didn't actually come back to lane with any more potions. This is last one, therefore, Bjergsen. Faker has no more remaining. Does have the last stand. Can look for an all-in. Potentially could burst Bjergsen
Bjergsen
down.
with the minions.
He's got to go. Oh, he's so low. That's 100.
That was a very exciting 1v1. The Taliyah surprising pick from Bjergsen was all about pushing.
Give you some options, and if you're doing a Q-Max, if you consistently hit those axes, you could theoretically win through poking them out, and maybe even just on farms.
Yeah, the problem always for Olaf is just running out of mana, you know, in these kind of situations. But
have I got a mastery for you?
There is the mastery.
Flow ban.
Gives you a free, you know, spell right there. Corruption potion coming in as well for Jisu right here. Knows that he's going to take a lot of poke damage in return, and also corruption potion for the potential all-in is of course powerful. Meiko is much more about just staying far away from Olaf. You have the ability to poke him over and over.
It is going to be pretty interesting to see how he wants to play it out. Also, if he wants to try to play around any sort of item timings, right? You know, that is another thing. Do you try to go for it right away? Do you try to keep them out in lane? Do you look for a powerful buy to go for it? Because the longer it goes, you do kind of expect Meiko to itemize probably relatively defensively. You could go a mana regen route, but I don't think it's really needed if your opponent's only win condition is something like that straight up all in. Things like Seekers can be extremely effective.
And obviously one thing Olaf can do if he's willing to spend the mana is actually just axe the wave and try and push it in. But again, it costs a lot for him, and it's much easier for Meiko to just kind of sit back, last hit with his range melee attacks, and then just try and poke Jisu.
Yeah, and just honestly, anytime you're walking up for the melee last hits, you're going to be taking damage. You're going to be taking both, which is what makes it so much harder to actually maintain a really high farm count in one of these range versus melee matchups. Look at the cannon. The cannon's having some problems there. Does get a bit unstuck, but
Ooh, good one.
so far so good. I mean, he's been hitting his axes on Meiko, and he's obviously prioritizing that over the push. He's trying to use every single axe on Meiko, and if Meiko does get too low, and he is pushed up, as you said, you can go for that all in. You have the exhaust to slow him down. You have the ghost to speed you up.
Exactly.
There is certainly potential.
And that's the thing, again, this map is much longer than, you know, a standard mid lane where you're sitting with the Syndra, and normally you have time to go back to a tower. Not in this case. So Meiko is actually giving the push over to Jisu, and again, Olaf, early levels, super strong. A lot of damage. You really got to respect the all-in from him. Good damage in return, though, from Meiko here.
Yeah, that trade a little bit rough. Obviously, you can get some health back with your W up there if you're going to go for that, but Jisu has not yet leveled it. He put a couple points in the queue, which is going to make quite a bit of sense, but up in farm, pushes it in. It's looking good.
Really like the fact he gets the wave into this turret here. Cannon Minion just died. Some of the minions are dying as well. Meiko's only sitting on 12 CS at the moment, and he's gonna miss a lot of these.
Yeah, I mean, he is really kind of struggling to pick up this farm. He's actually getting very low and is out of mana here too. So even though Jisu did get his back canceled, doesn't seem like he actually needs to go home just yet, and is looking to be in a really good position. Maybe he can just straight up win a farm out here.
I mean, he's getting a lot of value just by the fact he's actually keeping up in mana for his axe spamming. Against Meiko, he even gets a heal now. It's a little bit more for himself.
And Meiko has the wave pushing against him, so he's got to be scared. Like, the wave is putting him in a dangerous spot. If an axe connects here from Jisu, I think he actually could look for an all-in right around this, but has not been able to connect any of the last couple. And this is probably the last chance for really an all-in at this level. If you hit level 5, you can look for it.
That one
moved up pretty far.
Yeah, he needs to be careful. We have to remember he's picked Ghost, which will not help him stay alive if Meiko is actually going all in against him, where Meiko on the other side with Exhaust and Barrier both really work well in combat. So Jisu needs to respect that. Also the fact he was not level 6 yet. Not a good trade from him.
I mean, that's the importance of hitting those axes, right? He was actually winning out quite heavily. He had hit quite a few in a row. He misses 3 or 4 straight axes onto Meiko. That means he loses control of the minion wave. That means his opponent can actually push forward and look to push him out, and does end up with a very even farm, but he has at least been able to tie that up, and Meiko is kind of going for the more offensive options so far. A Kindle Gem is pretty interesting buy here for Jisu, but it is something that's fairly efficient if you can actually be able to spam out with the CDR. Might have expected, honestly, something different. I wouldn't have been surprised to see something like boots and long swords or boots and a null, but we'll see how effective it does end up.
So much damage. I think he just wanted CDR and HP. Honestly, he's like, you know what? Just give him stats right now. Obviously, again, boots is super valuable for him for the all-in, but he knows with the Ghost, he will be able to stick to Meiko. And Meiko won't be able to escape. Once again, Jisu trying to just get the wave under this turret here. See what he can deny.
He's not been able to hit axes for a while, though. And as long as Meiko keeps dodging them, he's going to be in a good spot. That's really the only thing that Jisu has to actually fight back.
And also 2 stacks already used on his Corruption Potion. Meiko still sitting with 2 health potions on his side. Of course, mana is a thing you always got to look for with Syndra here. A lot of damage once again.
Getting really low. Jisu probably just having to go back to base here again, but he has pushed in. He's going to stay around. I mean, if Meiko thinks he has base and comes out too far, I actually feel like Jisu could have stayed in the bush there a bit longer, and perhaps if Meiko moved forward for the last hits, when he's out of mana like that, you can pop the ult and look for an all-in. But Jisu's still confident he can win on farm, still confident he can poke down his opponent, and Meiko, although he's low on mana, does have the mana flow band proc ready, which not only refunds the cost of your ability, but gives you the additional percentage mana back. So he is going to be okay for now.
So higher HP at the moment. Obviously, Olaf is okay being lower HP if there is a potential all-in. Yeah, Meiko needs to be a little bit careful because this wave is pushing towards Jisu, and Meiko is very far up the lane at the moment.
And that's why it's all just about how many axes can you dodge. Because if Jisu had hit that one, if he hits one more, that can be what prompts the all-ins. But
he might look
Meiko
for it.
Has been very good at actually dodging out these axes, and I feel like, the Ghost is popped. He's going to go for it now.
They're fighting. It's all in. Meiko very low on mana right now. Jisu's going all in with the ulti.
Oh, he missed the axe, but he got another health pack, and if he hits this one, he will win.
There's no mana, Meiko.
Oh, Jisu connects the final axe there, and Meiko bet it all. You just got to have the Western duel. They both walk out to center.
It would be amazing.
They turn away.
Ooh, brTT right here, starting Doran's Blade instead of the Longsword 3 potions. Definitely will hurt him a lot in terms of overall sustain early game.
It certainly does, but if you can actually survive, if you can actually keep up in health and get a good base off, the Doran's is more effective long term, right? It is obviously very valuable. We can see Uzi rush something like Lethality if he wants to get an early serrated Dirk. That's going to be an option for him, but brTT yesterday did pick up a couple Doran's Blade, and that's likely what we'll see again from him here.
Obviously, a bit of extra HP for him compared to Uzi with that pickup, but again, I think Uzi is happy having the advantage in terms of potions, because again, we are expecting him to trade fair even against each other. So Uzi actually gets the first hit and some extra damage right after with Make It Rain.
Yeah, both players are starting E. brTT definitely taking the worst of that, and MF's passive is also pretty interesting here because the first auto within a certain amount of time is actually going to deal extra damage there. So if you get that one auto trade and then reset your passive on something else, it is going to give you a big advantage.
This is such a good start right now for Uzi because he's okay trading potion for potion when there's only one on the side of brTT.
brTT's pretty healthy so far, though. He actually did get a pretty good
He just got a
trade
very good
back,
one.
and
Just as I started talking, he just decided to
gas
turn around.
Level 2, though. Got to back off, and look at that Q already. The double up getting a lot of damage down there. brTT does need to hit level 2, and he is out of potions, so now he's getting pushed in. And if you have to base after getting pushed in and poked out, you're not going to have a lot of gold to actually work with if you can't farm this out pretty well. We'll see how he does.
And also early game mana issues for MF is very common.
Oh, the
big
double up
one.
pass through.
So if brTT is forced to start using mana on CSing on the turret here, or trying to land some poke that is pretty difficult to actually connect onto Uzi because there's so many minions, well then suddenly you might actually find yourself running out of mana.
And you'll see how important the positioning is. You can see brTT moving away from those range minions because a pass-through would be death at this point. He needs to be very careful. He's actually standing behind some pretty low HP minions there.
A little bit of a lucky timing right there for brTT though, with the spawn of the heal. The fact that Miniwave had just actually pushed back Uzi's wave, so he had to leave. Important, brTT picks that one up, but as we saw here, the potions have been traded.
Yep.
3 for Uzi means he's now sitting on basically full HP.
And now, oh, he gets a
Big
pass
one.
through, and if brTT can have a good trade like that, this could be the all-in.
brTT so low right now. Uzi does have enough mana for double up.
That's such a big advantage now for Uzi. I think brTT was looking for the all-in there, but Uzi simply backs off, but it's the summoner advantage now for Uzi. It's a CS advantage for him as well. Push it in, base, have a better buy. You have the 2 summoners, and you can look into posture very aggressively and go for the kill.
Just makes it easier to keep sitting in the front and trying to zone as well. I really like the pickup of Biscuit, is what we talked about in the very first one-on-one we did, where things like Biscuit and Future Market are so effective in the early game, and that is all you want in this one-on-one setup.
Uzi did actually elect, so he did take Biscuit Delivery, but he took Cosmic Insight, which I actually think is much worse than Future's Market as far as the 1v1. I mean, 5% CDR,
it's not
going to
big.
be so much less of a big deal than, say, 3 extra potions, which is what he actually could have afforded on this base. He would have been able to come back with 5, which is such a massive amount of regen, but brTT, as expected, has a double Doran's Blade. He's going to need to get to some very advantageous trades if he wants to get back into this, because he is down on farm, he's down on gold, and it's going to be a bit problematic, but he is running Resolve, he is running the Doran, so he's going to have more lifesteal, he's going to have more sustain in a really long, grinded out type lane because of that. With the Iron Wind, with the second wind, as well as the Iron Skin, and the lifesteal from the Dorans.
Luckily though for Uzi, Biscuits and Potions are just the guaranteed amount of HP you get back, and especially Biscuit is amazing when you get to use it in lane. brTT not connecting that one, but Uzi returns to fire.
Even for the mana, honestly, in a 1v1,
Exactly.
it gives you 40 maximum mana after you use it permanently, which is a pretty big deal in this mana-hungry, poke-it-out style.
I mean, we've seen a lot of 1v1s now where it also comes down to the mana, like how aggressive can you play? Uzi can now sit and keep trying to fire away on brTT because he feels like he has enough mana to do it.
And Uzi is 6. brTT is not. If he can get it all in here, he could look for the kill.
brTT gets to run away, no barrier on his MF. Uzi still sitting with both summoners.
I mean, brTT, he's in such a hard spot, though. He's so far down on farm. I feel like at this point, you just have to accept you can no longer win on farm and stop spending mana on the farm, try to get a base, try to look for an all-in, because that's the only way you're winning this when you're already 25 plus CS down.
But obviously for him, he needs to make sure the wave is actually dying so Uzi doesn't get a lot of free damage on the turret. And that is exactly what he's doing here, because that is the other way he can still lose. Of course, Uzi just gets a ton of free time to kill the tower. What's important here is get barrier, once again off cooldown, go back, get full HP, full mana, and then next time you have ulti, see if you can get an all-in.
It's going to be tough, though, because Uzi's going to have the ulti earlier. That's actually a pretty long cooldown. I don't even know if he's going to really get to it before he's so far down, right? I mean,
then you got to
already
land the poke.
65 CS to 40. I feel like the only way that brTT wins this if he can get a really good all-in. And honestly, when you're down quite a bit on items, that requires a double-up pass-through. That requires some sort of game changer.
We need a few of those, honestly, to hit onto Uzi, where he doesn't get to return a whole lot back on brTT.
Summoners are back up, though. So, I mean, really, if you can get that one big advantage, if he fails a double up, if Uzi fails a double up that does not pass through and hit you, and then you can get one that does hit the pass through and smokes Uzi for a couple hundred damage.
There we go.
That could be the change.
That's a big one for him, obviously. If you're able to stay to the side of the minion wave, there's a much lower chance it actually will bounce and hit you in the face. If you're staying right behind the caster minions, there's a huge chance it will hit you. So you see Uzi's positioning is constantly near the wall to make sure that he doesn't get a big one in his face.
And Uzi knows all he has to do is push the wave. Like, he doesn't have to take any sort of fights, right? He has such an advantage that even if brTT can hit a couple double-ups and really poke him out, he can base. He has such a big cushion on the minions here. Okay, 20 CS.
Heal though, looking for potential, all in. Uzi's ulti is now being used as well.
Does get a bit of a chunk down there, and Uzi, again, just pushing out the wave, trying to poke down on brTT, has another potion available, but Uzi has a couple potions. Uzi can go back and get control of those health relics, and he still has the itemization advantage.
And again, as you highlighted earlier, like brTT's second tree being, you know, with absolute focus, which is good for him if he's above 70% HP, doesn't really give him any extra sustain right there. And then the movement speed as well doesn't really help him when it comes to keeping the mana going, keeping his HP up. Uzi's investing so much by getting things like Biscuit. Knows he can play extra aggressive because he will get a lot of that mana back as well. And brTT is looking for potential all-in to win this game.
Yeah, he knows he needs to go for something. Like, you cannot just sit back. And Uzi is backing off, though. He's using the minions to his advantage, and every time you shoot when you're standing by that cannon, the cannon is going to turn on brTT, but he does have his ultimate. That is one of his major advantages right now, and he's got to look for it.
Oh, he's looking for it right now! He's going for it!
Oh, so low. brTT is trying to get out of there, but is going to have to base. Looks like he survives, but Uzi needs only 2 more waves. He's already at about 90 CS, and with brTT going back to base, you have to feel like it's pretty much wrapped up.
It should be over right here. Uzi knew he just had to dodge the ulti. He walked straight out of it. Still had both defensive summoners he could use. And yeah, brTT tried what the only thing he basically could do at this point, the all-in.
It was a good try, but we're actually going to see Uzi make sure he's going to go back to base. He only needs 4 CS, so
that man really wants to win.
Really smart. He is being extremely sure that nothing can go wrong.
So brTT right now needs to actually stand behind Uzi's minions and deny any sort of easy CS for Uzi.
He needs to get up there, like, already. You need to be up there.
Get in there.
Because that's just one wave, and the ultimate is available for Uzi. Uzi can just walk up and ult the wave, so you gotta fight right now and hope that you can win, because Uzi's gonna ult the wave. There it is.
Nothing you can do at that point, but obviously the only thing at the end is here. Oh, okay.
It may be the Flashing Knight as well. A Garen versus Garen, a test for the ages.
It paid off that I played Garen in solo queue before this tournament.
Spin to win.
Spin to win. Fantastic lane phase, I gotta tell you, man. You can destroy people. And the fact that his W is so amazing now, also when it comes to actually even...
The W is nuts.
It is crazy.
It gives you...
What's it, the damage reduction?
If you have Merc Treads, it's like you're not even getting CC'd.
Dude, literally, like, as soon as you hit like level 5 or 6, you just walk onto the enemy tower, pop that bad boy, spank them in the head, and then you walk away. And I know spanking people in the head is kind of weird, so slap them in the head.
You and Trevor normally spank a different route.
It's a different one.
Yeah.
Looks like the head.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Not going to touch that one. But Garen versus Garen. What are you expecting? Q-Max, E-Max? I feel like Q is probably better for the actual straight-up 1v1, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I mean, E does have the armor shred, obviously, on it. It does increase damage with the ranks. Q is pretty powerful in the 1v1. The silence, I would assume, is affected actually by the W. That actually could come into play.
Sure. I mean, it's going to be very important how they use the W again, because when you do activate it, it's so strong for a few seconds. And if you miss that one and you're not actually activating when you're about to take damage, that will cost you a lot in just a pure 1v1. And I like the Summoner's Will choice.
Yep.
Both
Flash
agree.
Ignite. Double Airy, Flash Ignite. They're both starting the same items. I'm going to assume the runes are the same all the way down the line.
Where's my grasp? It's okay. We get the area.
We got to have a dance-off. You're gonna pick 2 Garens, you're not going to dance?
Well, almost.
All right.
Baiting the dance.
All right. Maybe a little bit of movement. You're seeing some... Oh, here we go. Here we go. That's what you like to see. That's the money shot right there.
All-Star 101, baby.
Hey, Xpeke last year was popping off with the Garen.
Famous pick. He was amazing for like 15 minutes of that game, and that was
about
about
it.
it.
Gotta remember.
That's kind of the thing about Garen.
Out.
I mean, the thing about Garen is, again, fantastic pick in the early game. Late game, especially if you have to enter things like team fights, it doesn't feel great, but there's no team fighting in 1v1. It is all about laning phase.
Got to give him the justice.
Ooh,
make him the villain.
Pray we are winning the first trade right there.
They are going to have quite a bit of regen, though. That's one of the things about this with the Perseverance. If you actually sit back, Prey's winning those little trades pretty hard. Remember, the Q is also an auto reset, so if you can get the Q then followed, the immediate auto then Q, you are going to get a lot more damage.
And we got to follow that rush for level 2, because if Rekkles had actually stayed forward, Prey could have gone all in with Q and, of course, E-pop right after, but Rekkles stepped away.
Those are very glowy swords.
It makes it more powerful.
Good.
No one knows why.
No one knows.
Is it fire, ice?
It's neither.
Just extra glow for the damage.
Yeah, it's just very, very glowy.
Well, right now, Prey is abusing the fact that he is actually with the early level 2, now early level 3. Big wave on the Rekkles tower, but this is not the game where you farm for 100 CS. There will be an all-in.
Definitely not, and we are going to check in on what the players are saying. They got some banter going on.
Q-Max?
Q-Max, sir.
Okay. Maybe he can kill me now.
I'm coming!
I know, I know.
Alrighty. Oh, the guy goes down. He has flash. Remember, if he can get the flash Q, you cannot flash away when you are silenced. Oh, he got him!
He also stopped the passive right there. He's like, no sustain for you. Great all-in from Prey. Dominated this Garen 1v1. We gotta give him that.
A true test of skill. The question becomes, will he bust it out in the 5v5s?
It is a potential.